Have you ever had one of these? A murderous, treacherous tool of the devil! Oh my god, the death card. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shai here to give you all the tea on tarot, spiritual health, and mental wealth. I'm gonna teach you guys how to read these babies in 6 steps. But before I start, I'm gonna be doing a giveaway, so stick around till the end of the video and let's get to it. All right, so the first step to reading your own tarot cards is establishing a deck of your choice. So you walk into a bookstore, maybe it's Barnes & Noble, maybe it's the Green Man, and you see this beautiful library of decks with different colors, laminations, fairies and princesses, and 2 hours later, you have a basket full of sage, candles, maybe some crystals, and still haven't decided which deck to start out with. The tried and true deck that everybody has, from beginners to professional tarot card readers, and I'm about to put you on, sis, is the Rider-Waite Tarot. Now, one huge misconception that a lot of people have and actually prevent them from buying their first tarot deck is the idea that you either need to be a witch, need to be gifted a deck by a witch, or have some sort of spiritual practice in order to read your own cards. When in actuality, back in ancient Europe, they were using these tarot cards as playing card games. So that's all to say you really don't need anything to purchase your first deck of cards besides yourself. All right, so we've got our deck, and now the second step is to set the mood. It's time for a self-love date
with yourself.
You're gonna wanna find a spot where you have a lot of privacy. So either get comfortable at your desk, your bed, or even a yoga mat. This part is optional, but a lot of people like to cleanse their space before they do a reading for themselves. They either use sage, palo santo, incense, or even juniper. I'm personally trying to stray away from things that I need to burn because of the fact that sage is getting over-harvested. So good alternatives could be sound bowls, meditation music. Even clapping your hands around the room helps to shake up the energy. You don't need to cleanse your space at all if you don't feel it fit. I personally cleanse my space maybe once a month, if anything, but I do definitely cleanse my cards before and after every reading. But that is optional, again, if you are a beginning tarot card reader. Okay, so we have our deck, we've set the mood, we got our self-love date going on, maybe we got our tea on the side. Our third step now is to choose your spread. You've probably heard a lot of people say this, you probably see a lot of different spreads on Instagram or on Pinterest, and you're trying to figure out what the hell this thing even is. A spread is basically the outline for how you're going to interpret your cards. Depending on the situation that you're reading for also determines the type of spread that you want to use. One spread that's very popular is a daily card pull. For beginners, I don't typically recommend pulling a daily card in the beginning of your day, simply because if you pull a not so ideal card, you're gonna psych yourself out and probably manifest that for yourself. Oh my god, the death card. Instead, you're more than welcome to pull a card at the end of the day, kind of summarizing the lesson that you've learned. Spirit, what lessons have I learned from today? The death card, really? Day 14 of quarantine and I'm getting the death card again? I could see it though. There's also 3 card spreads for past, present, and future, or current energy, advice, and the outcome. Or if you just want to let it flow, then I recommend maybe pulling 3 to 5 cards and try to see what storyline these images evoke for you. All right, so let's review. We have our deck, we've set the mood, we've picked the spread that we want to use, and now we get to the seemingly most complicated part, and that is the shuffle. A beginner tip though, try not to flip the card facing you until you've drawn out all the cards that you needed. This kind of goes back to the idea of not wanting to pull a daily card in the beginning of the day because you're gonna end up psyching yourself out and gonna try to purposefully shuffle the cards until you get more positive cards to make up for it. I like to do a riffle shuffle to cleanse my deck, which is again very optional. You can also do an overhead shuffle until the amount of cards that you need falls out. Also seen a lot of people pick a number that immediately comes out of their head, like the number 7, and they shuffle their deck 7 times and then start pulling from the top of that deck. You can also lay them out flat horizontally and intuitively pick the cards, Or you can cut your deck in 3 and pick from the top of those decks. Finally, while you're shuffling these cards, you want to focus on your intention. So if you're trying to pull a card for the current situation for the day, you want to repeat that either out loud or in your head. What is the card for my current situation for the day? What lessons do I need to learn from this current situation? And you do this until you've drawn enough cards that you needed for your spread. All right, guys, so we have our deck. We set the mood, we got our personal date night going on, we've chosen our spread, either one that we found online or the most common ones, and we have finally shuffled and laid out all of the cards onto our spread. The 5th step is to reflect and review. A lot of the times I like to tell my clients that tarot cards are like the Rorschach ink blot test, which you've probably seen in movies where the therapist asks their clients, how does this image make you feel? Based on the answer that the client gives them, the therapist determines a specific game plan or some sort of resolution for these emotions or feelings that the client is experiencing when they're looking at these cards. Tarot cards are very similar to these ink blots because they're evocative. They pull out certain emotions or feelings for us when we look at these images. So the first things that we want to take note of when we're reflecting and reviewing over our spread is the things that pop out to you immediately, which may be different colors. Maybe there's a specific theme of colors that you're noticing in these cards. What are certain objects that are sticking out to you? Do you see a lot of wands or cups or swords or maybe different animals? Or maybe there's a lot of water in the background of your cards. Essentially, you want to take note of how these images make you feel, if you think these cards represent your current demeanor in your life, or if it evokes a specific memory from your past. Once we've taken note of all these things that come up for us, with a grain of salt, then we can look up the definitions. Most of the times, a deck is going to come with a little booklet, probably like this one. But all of these definitions are extremely general, so take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. All right, guys, let's review. We have our deck, we have our little date night going on, we picked the spread, we've shuffled, we've reviewed, and we've reflected. But before I get into this last step, if you like this video, then show me some love in the comment section. And if you love this video, then subscribe and smash that bell button in the corner. And make sure you stick around till the end of the video, because I'm about to announce a bomb-ass giveaway. Okay, so our last and final step is determine how you're going to use these lessons to your advantage. A lot of people come and ask me, Shaina, I'm reading my own cards and I'm getting these things and I'm taking notes, but I'm still not seeing results in real life. And that's simply because they either choose not to actually accept the advice that their higher self is telling them, or they treat it like a playing card game and go on about their day, which you can honestly do too. But if you're reading for self-reflection, you could decide how you want to take the advice from these cards and use it to your greatest advantage in the situation that you're reading for. So let's say you pull a few cards for maybe your first week at a new job. And one of the main cards that popped out to you is the 7 of Wands. The 7 of Wands typically represents somebody who feels overwhelmed, attacked, or maybe even outnumbered. You can look at this card and say, okay, maybe my first week is gonna feel overwhelming because it's a new environment, because it's something that I'm not used to, but I'm gonna prepare myself for this level of stress by making sure that I'm taking breaks, that I'm not taking anything personal that maybe my higher ups are saying, or that I'm making a note to go to yoga after work every day to decompress. Like any other mindfulness tool, tarot allows you to look at your life from an objective perspective and have compassion for that side of yourself. All right, y'all, so those are the 6 steps on how to read your own tarot cards without any experience. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. I decided to do a giveaway to celebrate my first 100 followers on my Instagram page, Tarot by Shai. And I know 100 followers may not seem like a lot, but I still want to give thanks and gratitude to you guys for supporting the vision. So I'm going to be giving away a copy of the Modern Witch Tarot. The reason why I chose the Modern Witch Tarot is because it has a hell of a ton of representation, which we need, by the way, while still carrying the same archetypal messages that the Rider-Waite Tarot deck has. So all you need to do to enter the giveaway are 3 things. Subscribe to my channel, follow Tarot by Shai on Instagram, and comment down below in this video how you're gonna use the Modern Witch Tarot deck for your own self-reflection. The last day to enter the giveaway is gonna be Thursday, May 7th, and I'm gonna announce the winner in my next video on Friday, May 8th. So thank you guys for sharing space with me. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.